Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Southampton 2, Everton 0. Another away defeat for Everton. Another depression Monday. Joined by Kane and Steve in the studio. Lads, another pathetic away performance from Everton.
Just gutless, spineless. The lot of them, aren't they, really? The story of the season. It's just like you take a step forward with a good result at home to Leeds, and then it's two steps backwards. Honestly, like, I've just got no patience for them players anymore. I feel so deflated today.
Yeah.
And knowing we've got Man City at home on Saturday just terrifies me. But we just, like we've been talking about before, like, we need to pick up points at home, because away from home, it's scary, and like, Lampard needs to have a look at some players now and start changing them around, because our players like Seamus Coleman are playing week in, week out for Everton is a disgrace. He's not a leader for me at all with that armband at the minute. You know, Andre Gomes, when he come on, absolutely perfect. The all way, mate. I was going to say all 11 then, but they're all terrible. Not good enough to wear the shirt.
Strong words, but I mean, like Kane just said there, it's you know, it's all very well saying, you know, we've got to win our own games and all that, but like this week we've got Man City, which is obviously currently the best team in the league. But away from home, it's just been terrible all season, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's the story of the season. I put off the game on Saturday. It's the usual suspects letting you down every week. The problem is now for me is that I do not trust any of them. Not like the win last week was brilliant against Leeds, and you always enjoy your victories. But I didn't trust any of them going into the game, mate. I've seen too many of them let us down week in, week out. I'm going to name them, I don't care. Michael Keane, Andre Gomes, Seamus Coleman, Mason Holgate, not good enough. Alex Iwobi, not good enough. John Joe Kenny, they're just garbage. I'm sorry, mate, but that, I know we're probably going to go into it, but the pass into Gomes from Keane is just lazy football. It's a 5-yard pass, which he makes look like a 20-yard pass. It's just awful, mate. And it's just, like you said before, it's the same players who've been letting us down for Koeman, Silva, Ancelotti, whatever. I know, I can't, I wouldn't be bothered me if they all went in the summer. I really don't have any time.
I just see right through them now, Steve. Yeah. And you know what, right? It's great that we won last week. Yeah. And I appreciate that. We were really good last week. Yeah. But when you got talk all week saying we should be giving certain players contracts because they've had a decent game, come on, let's have a look at ourselves now. Yeah. They're so inconsistent. Yeah. Honestly, they're not good enough. We need a big relook in the summer.
Well, I mean, with saying that, obviously we beat Leeds 3-0 last week, and it was 4-4-2, and there is that thing with. It's hard, isn't it? Because some managers will make changes game by game. And other managers will reward people for good performances. And I think whenever you've played footy in a footy team, if you played well the week before, you'd expect to keep you. And obviously, more goes into it. They train every day and they get looked at every day. But I could understand with the starting lineup why you went with the same 11. Really, 4-4-2 to what Southampton play. And I thought, well, everyone did the jobs last week. But what I would say, the caveat to that is, I kind of expected this performance because I've seen it a million times from Everton, particularly this group of players. Great 1 week, and then just look like they've never kicked the football, and particularly away from Goodison. So, I mean, would you have kept the same team, or it's easy now to say he got it wrong, but I understood why he went with the same team. Yeah,
I understand it, but I would have liked us to put an extra midfielder in to try and overpower.
But who would you have played?
I probably would have started Dele Alli on Saturday.
Would you?
Yeah, I would have.
At the expense of who?
Gordon or Iwobi.
Would you? Just took one of them
off.
Yeah.
And I get Alex Iwobi was very good against Leeds, but as we were saying before, he done what we've been asking him to do for the last 2 years, run about a bit, put a few tackles in, which every single player on the pitch should be doing week in, week out. But I just think an away game is very different to a home game against Leeds. You've got to. I just think against Southampton, it was an opportunity to grab hold of the game and try and grab hold of the ball. And the reality is, apart from the first 20 minutes, they picked up every second ball. Every second ball. Every header that was knocked down, a Southampton player was there. Where I think if you maybe put an extra midfielder in, that might not happen. I'm not saying it definitely does, but I would have liked us to overpower them in the midfield. Even if you put Townsend in the free instead of Dele Alli, just someone extra in that middle of the park for me. But I can't have a go at the manager because you know what? I was saying to you yesterday, I'm kind of glad he's seeing this side of them because I wouldn't have liked him to come in and he win. Obviously, yeah, I would have loved to have won 6 on the bounce. But I'm kind of glad that he's seeing some of these players for what they really are, to be honest with you. You know.
I mean, that's fair. That's a fair point. But Kate, we started the game really brightly, didn't we? You know, kind of what we've seen teams come to Goodison and do, just have the ball and look dangerous. And we were that team, and I was thinking, to say what, this is a good start if we can get a goal.
The first 15 minutes was very good. Southampton couldn't even have a kick of the ball, really. Couldn't even get out their own half. But
should have had a penalty as well.
That's what I was going to say then. What wound me up big time was that we didn't get the penalty there. Romeo, his arms up. It was a clear penalty. I was behind the goal myself. I was down here. The 3,000 fans knew it was on board. Clear. But again, why aren't our players going round the referee? Do you know what I mean? Screaming. It's only Richarlison who ran over. Just not, you know, you expect your captain to be there and go and have a word with the referee. Do you know what I mean? But again, they're all stood there with their hands on their hips. And that's what, you want your teams to be successful. You've got to be like that. You've got to get every point you can, and that's how you get your points. You've got to be horrible, don't you? And
you got to make
again, I think we're just two nicest players. It was a clear handball, and I don't know how it weren't given. VAR they are a disgrace. The angles, when you look back at it, are absolutely horrific. And that will be brushed under the carpet today. When that, is it Dermot Gallagher on Sky Sports News? You'll have every excuse about it. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse because I think our players should have been in the referees here big time. It was just one player. And that's what disappointed me.
Well, like you say, the first 15, 20, we had a chance in the opening minutes, and if Richarlison let it run, Gordon has a tap in really, or at least a free shot at goal, and he got a touch. And we couple of nice patterns of play, and I thought, we're right in this is good, we're on top. And then Alan goes and gets booked, and from that moment,
you just knew, didn't
the game seemed to change. They seemed to start winning every second ball, and we allowed them to get a grip on the game, didn't we?
Yeah, I think not scoring in that first 20 minutes was the killer for me. We had so much of the ball, we were pressing high, and then for them, and then obviously the Allen incident as well, which was, it was a booking, but you look back at some of their ones as well, and you think, they didn't even get a telling off for half of them. So, it just, for me, like, I just think, not scoring in that first 20 minutes was the killer, and to be honest, when we didn't, I did fear the worst a bit, unfortunately. I
think what it was with the Allen booking for me, got booked, but then made the tackle straight after that. And that's when you knew he was one tackle away from a red card.
The referee had a way.
Wasn't even a foul, that tackle, I don't think.
And Coleman.
I haven't seen it back, but I just remember being in the ground and thinking, he could go here. But obviously I was miles away from where it happened. I haven't seen it back, but you just knew if he had that warning after the second yellow, he could go up.
He got the second one, it wasn't even a foul, he got the ball and the referee, but the referee made the free kick and Coleman come over, and Coleman spoke to him, and he was saying, tell him to calm, and you know then, you're thinking, one mistimed tackle, you put your foot out, he goes down or whatever.
I do think though, if he didn't get brought off at half time, he would have probably got sent off that game, Alan. I just thought he was all over the place anyway.
He struggled, didn't he?
I think, going on from that, obviously Jordan Pickford made a good save. He made one brilliant save from Livramento off the corner. Reaction save was unbelievable. Made a good save from Brozier, came out and spread himself really well. And even though Southampton were having more of the ball, I wasn't overly concerned. It was only really the Liv Morento one, where you're like, my God, your heart's in your mouth, because it was a set piece coming, he was on his own, and, you know, he makes a great save. But you just knew going into half time, you're thinking, Alan's just not, he can't put a tackle in no more, so we're getting overrun. Knew the manager had to do something, and obviously at half time he made the change, which didn't surprise me because of Alan. But Andre Gomes came on and proceeded to turn in one of the worst Everton displays I think I've ever seen from a midfield player. He was absolutely abysmal from the first minute he was on the pitch.
That performance reminded me of, I think it was Villa away on a Friday night.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was just identical.
Yeah.
Lost that one 2-0 as well.
Yeah. Well, he was horrendous, mate. And as soon as the players went off for half time, I don't know if you've seen it, he was warming up straight away. He's the only player on the pitch with his kit on and just had the bib on. So everyone knew he was coming on. And he's just so slow, isn't he? He just couldn't keep up with the pace of the game at all. He is rubbish. I'd get rid of him as soon as possible. And I know it's all right saying that we need a squad and that, but I can't put up with him anymore, mate. I've just got no patience with him. I just don't think he's good enough, and I think it says it all when Benfica are bidding 500 grand for him last summer. If that's what he's worth, why is he in our squad? He's awful for me. And I just don't think, like, you look at him sometimes and you think, what do you add? You're a professional footballer. I look at him, Baz, and I think, what's he actually good at? Because he can't get up and down the pitch. Listen, he's good at passing the ball and keeping the ball, but he doesn't make the key pass to create a goal. Look at his numbers since he's been at us. He's just not good enough. And the position he plays for Everton, you'd be expecting numbers, at least. Because Arteta played for Everton, he got numbers, and I know he scored most of a lot of his goals from set pieces or penalties, but he was adding to his goal tally. When you look at Gomes when he plays for Everton, I just think he's running through the motions. I just don't know what he does sometimes.
He's got 2 goals in.
That's what I mean.
Years, hasn't he? 1 league goal.
And how many assists though from a midfielder?
Yeah,
do you know?
any.
I can't think of any.
I think with Gomes,
but,
if the game's not on his terms, he goes missing, doesn't he? Like if it gets a bit aggressive and it gets a bit players up here, he doesn't like it. We've all seen
he likes it when he's got.
He's like it when he's got time and space. Yeah. Like you've said a few times, like
the Brentford game,
the Italian style of play or the Spanish type of football. You don't get that. It's like Southampton. Their manager has them up and about, and we were saying before about them. They ran all over us really in the middle of the park, and Gomes can't deal with that. No. He's especially even more after his injury. I was like that before his injury, but yes, he was very, very poor.
It was like the game last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We won every game virtually last year. We went there and he beat us 2-0 and we were never in the game. They overran us. I think we were in the game at 0-0, I think Sigurdsson at the bar, and after that they scored and that was it. And they ran all over us, and it was a similar game. And
they won't be making him look like Pirlo this week, Everton on YouTube, though, will they?
No. That's the thing with him, is I think like he's had a couple of contributions this year. Like he came on against Burnley in the 3-man midfield, and I thought he helped turn the game because he got hold of the ball. He didn't create any goals, but he got hold of the ball and gave us that little bit of control. And he come on against Arsenal when we beat them at home, and he did, and it allowed the Corey to push up, but that's because you got the Corey in there. Him in a 2, we've said a million times, him in a 2, particularly away from home, doesn't work. He can't work. Didn't work at Newcastle. He was shambolic at Newcastle. He got dragged off. It's dreadful, and it was the same on Saturday. And
but that for me though, that's why he should go as soon as possible, because it's a handful of games, isn't it? Yeah. You know, you should be expecting more. A lot more.
I think to be honest, I think Everton would. I don't think Everton would have any issue with them going.
I know. You've just
got to have someone to come
in for him.
Whereas, and especially Lampard. I mean, Frank Lampard.
Hopefully,
one of the best midfielders, wasn't he, in the Premier League era ever? And he knows what it takes to be a good midfielder. And
of course.
He's a couple of weeks in to what is a very difficult job. So he'll.
Yeah. No.
I think he's seen. He said you could tell afterwards. His press conference afterwards and that, he was just like, these are fucking killers.
I just hope he's the first manager who sees right through the players.
But you've got not just him. That's the good thing. You've got all the coaching staff. And all them coaching staff are elite level coaches.
Yeah.
Joe Edwards has just won the bleeding Champions League 6 months ago.
Yeah.
With Chelsea 7 months ago with Chelsea. Knows what it takes to be at the top. So does Ashley Cole as a player. Yeah. So does Lampard as a player. Paul Clements won Champions Leagues as a coach. The other kid, Chris Jones, has been involved with Chelsea when they've won stuff. All of these coaching staff know what a player looks like who's an elite player. So I'm not going to find one at Everton, I don't think, but
no.
You're looking around and you know what it takes. Once you know what it takes to get there, then you can directly compare. So the players like Andre Gomes, I imagine, will be moved on.
Yeah.
The minute Lampard can and replaced with better. Listen, he could have done a couple of things at the weekend, I think, the manager. I think he tried to just leave it as it was. It didn't really work. And we had the ball in the net just after half time and it was jumped up briefly. When you see it again, it's miles offside, but you were just hoping because Dom ran in with the defender, he was hoping he was on. But we then have the ball in our own half and Donny van der Beek gives it to Michael Keane. It's not really any pressure. In fact, he's under very little pressure. But Andre Gomes is under pressure. And instead of Keane either turning his body out and trying to switch it or just knocking it into a channel for Dom to spin into, he underhits a terrible pass, 3 or 4 yard ball to Gomes. So we put him in trouble. We know Gomes when he's pressed. Can't do anything. The lad applies a bit of pressure, they fall on the floor, they break, and 3 passes later, we're getting beat 1-0.
Yeah, it was the ball was horrific. Absolutely horrific ball. But the problem is, the minute you done it, you knew they were going to punish us, didn't you? You just knew it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand if it was a tough ball. It was like a 5 yard. He could have even spun round and passed it back to Pickford if he wasn't sure. Or just levered it down the pitch. Yeah. But he tried a 5 yard ball, which he absolutely cocked up. And obviously Gomes was under pressure, like we were just saying there. He doesn't like being under pressure. Gives the ball away. 50-50 whether it's a foul or not. I just think the Southampton player wanted it a bit more.
Yeah, wanted it more, yeah.
And then obviously they go on to score from it. Nice little play around the box. And I do think Jordan Pickford probably could have done a lot better. I've watched it yesterday. I wasn't too sure when I seen it on Saturday because they only showed one angle. But seeing it yesterday, he got beat on his near post, didn't he? And
it went under his arm.
I don't know if the pace caught him off. It was the pace of the shot. But I think he's got to do a lot better, considering they probably had a lot harder saves during the game to make as well. But it was just an absolute mess from that play they had, really. Like Van der Beek's got to go forward, and then he goes back, and Keane cocks it up, and then Gomes under pressure, and then...
There's no pressure on the shot either. Michael Keane kind of half-heartedly makes a motion towards the ball instead. If you think of someone like, even people like Connor Cody, say, where he'd be flying out there to get that block in, or other good defenders in the Premier League would be out there making. In fact, their defenders would have been out fast trying to get some kind of blocking or throwing themselves at it. Michael Keane just ambles over and sticks a leg out. And in Pickford's defence, to be fair, it comes round Keane at pace. So, but I did look at it and think, could he have done a little bit better there? But it come from an error, like the Newcastle goal did the other week when we were winning. Mason Holgate can turn them and just not. And that was the good thing about the Leeds game. We didn't take any chances against Leeds. Against Leeds, we just went, we're under pressure here, we'll turn them and then we'll reset. And then when we get it next time, we will play the ball. And we didn't. That's what concerned me.
You know what, you mentioned the Leeds game there, right? I think the problem was on Saturday that we were too worried about the opposition. And I think with Leeds we thought, let's just focus on our own game and win the game early on. But I thought on Saturday, probably hadn't been the back of their heads that Southampton got a good few results lately. Let's worry about them more. I think they should. I don't know. With that goal though, for me, right, I just don't get why Michael Keane hasn't just booted the ball down the pitch for me. And Van der Beek has got a chance to play the ball forward too. It's just all simple errors what can be dealt with straight away. It's basics really. And
Well, that's what I mean. We went from doing the real basics against Leeds
yeah, that's it.
to going back to doing the stupid.
And then what was crazy was the minute we went behind, we then started hitting the ball long when we needed to get hold of it.
I know, exactly.
It was all back to front.
Control.
Whereas there's nothing wrong there's nothing wrong with you getting the ball back and going, he's under pressure, I can't give him that, I'm just going to turn him. But then the next time you get it, actually trying to play through the line. You know, Lampard wants us to play through the thirds, I get that. But there's a time and a place to do. Right now, when we're in a relegation battle, don't give anything. Don't give the opposition anything. So if you're under pressure with the ball, or you can't pass it because your men are marked, knock one into the bomb and just say, get after that. Knock it and go get after it. And they run along, fella knocks it out, and you're 50 yards up the pitch, and then you're set then. The next time you get it, you do try to pass it. Mix it up anyway. Don't always go to pass it. Don't always go long. But from messing around individual mistakes, 2 away games on the run, we've given them the impetus to the home side.
I just think too, though, right, like, I think a lot of their chances on the weekend were very, very similar too. I think you've got Coleman and Kenny as full-backs, not even telling anyone to double up. I think...
Yeah.
We never stopped crosses either.
Kyle Walker-Peters
Pickford was mental.
a left back, he was a right footer, and he kept showing him onto his right foot.
To cross it in with his better foot,
They didn't stop crosses. Walker-Peters had about 3 or 4 shots with his right foot on Saturday, by the way.
Half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
First half,
hit the post in
and
the
then,
first half, didn't he?
and I know we'll come on to it in a minute, but for the second goal, why, I just don't understand, why is so many players got so much space to run with the ball?
Well, let's go on to it. Obviously 1-0 down. Let's have a look at the second goal, because it's just the way we've got the setup of it is berserk. So I've got Coleman, I've circled on the bottom left there. So Shane Long already is ahead of Seamus Coleman in this move on the left-hand side here. In the middle, I've circled Andre Gomes because Armstrong is 5-6 yards away from him. Jogging, and look at the space. Now, Liv Morento's in the top right-hand corner, so he's John Joe Kenny's man. There's 40 yards, 30 yards between them two. And Andras Townsend, Kyle Walker-Peters is already 30 yards ahead of him here at the bottom of the screen. He's done the arrow there. So if we just play that on to the next one. So it's coming up to the edge of the box here. So again, Armstrong's just about to roll the ball out there. Now, I've done John Joe Kenny's arrow to where he should go to engage the ball. Liv Morento's probably equal distance away from the ball. And then in the bottom left here, we've got Seamus Coleman. Look where Shane Long is. He's already 2 yards ahead of him. Instead of Coleman being goal side, again, Andros Townsend hasn't made any kind of ground up on Walker-Peters here. And then we've got Donny van der Beek chasing back. I think it's El Nusi, I think. If we move it on one more, this is the actual crossing position. So Liv Morento's got the ball. And John Joe Kenny should be fast out there to block that cross. Stands off.
On his own,
just leaves him. Seamus Coleman in the box. We've got Shane Long circled. Still, goal side. Seamus Coleman still hasn't thought, I better get the right side of this in case this is a flat cross. Andros Townsend has made, 2 yards up. He's still 15 yards away from Walker-Peters. And then if we do the fourth one, which is the ball into the box, Long's headed it. Coleman still not goal side. Long's headed it. And we've got 2 in the middle here, which Che Adams has won. I can't think who the other one is. Maybe Tel Nusi as well. Holgate's got 2. And then Michael Keane's on the right of that. Hasn't thought to engage either of that. So if Long heads that square or Pickford saves it, they've got to tap in anyway.
So easy.
And it's little so things easy. Like that where you're 1-0 down in a game. You're still in the game. You just stay in the game. But if your centre midfield player is jogging back while theirs is running at speed, your left back has got one threat, which is you.
It's 1v1 again.
It's 1v1 here, and you get the ball, and I stand this far off you. You're a professional footballer, you can bend it. You know what? These players can do it round you with it. He should be out fast. Last week, he was out fast, Kenny, winning things. There, he stands off. But Seamus Coleman's 34 soon. He's an international footballer. He's been captain of Ireland, captain of Everton. And he doesn't know to get goal side of Shane Long, who can jump. Decent in the air for his size. But Coleman never once gets goal side of him. Not once in that pattern of play. Instead of thinking, he's the danger, I need to get this side of him here. Never once. And then wonders why Long's up and heads it down and then goes...
It was just, to me, it was just a very, very tired Seamus Coleman defending. Not tired in the game, just in his career at the moment. He looked like he struggled to jump as.
He did. We didn't jump.
He didn't.
He didn't jump.
I just think
he just stood there.
I just think that's his body telling him, I can't do it. Can't do it. Like, and this is the issue we've had, what, for probably last year now, hasn't it? With Seamus, year and a half, 2 years nearly. And he got, like I said, he got found out by a player who hasn't scored in 2 years.
2 years. Armstrong hadn't scored all season. That was the first goal. Long hadn't scored for 2 seasons. That was the first.
You probably wouldn't have seen this, by the way, right? But because I was there at Southampton, they got like a big screen, so we could see a screen behind the other goal.
Yeah.
We're behind the goal. And as that seconds got in, all their players are off celebrating. And the replay comes up on the goal, all our players are looking at it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the replay goes off, they're all like this, pointing at each other. And that comes back to what we've been saying all season. Nobody takes responsibility in this team. When you've got a captain who's even pointing at other people for that goal too, take responsibility, please. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
He could have stopped him. If he jumps in with Long doesn't get a clean header.
Or blocks him off.
Or blocks him off.
Yeah.
But that was the story of that game and most of the season for me. The amount of crosses what keep coming in. Yeah. We don't double up on people ever. No. It happened at Newcastle with St. Maximum. Yeah. You got St. Maximum or Game Coleman on his own. Why aren't you telling someone, come and drop in and help me? Why isn't he doing that in that game today, John Kenny?
Kenny should be blocking the cross. That ball, when Armstrong rolls that off, it's a race between you and Liv Morento. Yeah. If he gets out sharp to Liv Morento, it's harder. If you stand off me, it's easier for me to bend the ball around you. If you stood
it's so easy,
like 2 foot in front of me, I've got to beat you 1v1, which Kenny's decent at in the challenge. Yeah. Or I've got to come back and knock it back. And then you can get set. We didn't. Just jogging while someone puts a cross in. You haven't done your job. No. Basic. Yeah. It's basic. Gomes jogging. Because the fella he was marking's ahead of him. Just jogging. Oh, someone else will do it for me. You know, Coleman. Oh, I need to get goal side. These are all the reasons why last week we made sure we won them battles. Last week it was you're not getting past me, mate. Yeah. And that went from the goalkeeper right the way through to the subs. Come on, you're not beating me today. You were not beating me today. Last week for how far players ran and compared it to Saturday, I'd love to see the difference. It's sprints and everything. Yeah. Last week we made sure we won every battle. When you go out, it's you versus your opponent. And that's all it is. Yeah. John Joe Kenny there should have been, there's not a chance, mate, I'm going to even take the ball off you. Stood off. You know, Coleman shouldn't be letting him. He knows Shane Long. He's Irish teammate. Knows what he's like. You're not getting past me. You know, Gomes. Another problem with that game on Saturday for me was the lack of left footer on the pitch. It was not. Did we have a left footer on the pitch? No, we didn't. We brought Townsend came on, didn't he? But went on the right wing. That's why when you were going on about the team before, I'd have started Michalenko for that reason. You need a left footer on the team. Do you think now the manager's literally got to just go game by game now? So if you plug a gap at left back like John Joe Kenny for argument's sake, but then like Michalenko's fit now, do you then just go, I'm going for balance, he's left footed, means we can go on the front foot, it means we're not always having to turn back and playing him, and even if someone comes in like a Wobie and has a great game, the week later, well, Damari Gray's here, so Sosmith, you come and sit with me because he's better. Do you think he's going to have to do that? Or because I have always kind of bought into, like, you should keep your shirt if you play well. But the problem is, us as fans, we know these players. We've seen these players do it year after year, where they will have a really good game, you go, oh, it's the penny dropped, and then they turn up the next week, and you know within 5, you go, after 5 minutes, he's not on it. And that's it. We can't get any head of steam because we're getting let down by lads who were at 8 last week that are 1 the next week.
I think if they've been consistently good for a year or 2, like you see with them sometimes, like Origi will come in and play after not playing for 6 months. He'll have a really good game, but he knows he's not going to play the week after. because he knows there's a better player.
So do we
behind
need
him.
Lampard to get to that point where he
Yeah,
knows who's
yeah.
a sense.
I just don't think you can. Like we said before, the Leeds game. Again, there's certain players who've kidded us from that game, who've gone on, had amazing games. Then the week after, they show their inconsistency. They show why they're probably not top players.
Yeah.
That's why they don't probably deserve to keep
Well,
the shirt the week after. But I agree with you saying, if you play well, you usually deserve to keep your shirt. But when you've been consistently crap for 2 years, you don't deserve to keep your shirt straight away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we will have to go to...
Yeah, of course
we
we
will
will.
have to look at it, the bigger picture, won't we, and go, no, we're going game by game now.
To me, if Gray's fit, he plays on
That's
Saturday.
what I was going to say. If Damari Gray was fit on Saturday, I'd have played Damari.
And he may well have done.
I think he would have.
But I think now, I think you're right there as well. But the other thing as well, I would say, is that quite clearly Everton have got lads who are good enough.
Yeah.
They're good enough, but they're not strong mentally. And this is the problem. So it stops them being... Do you know what I mean? The top players turn up week in, week out. You can lose a game of football, of course you can. The whole thing is you can lose a game of football. Everton could beat Man City at Goodison on Saturday. With the crowd and all, it might a lucky break. Could be anything could happen. City could have one of those days. Doesn't mean we're better than City.
No.
It just means you can. So even if you're a good side, you can lose games. But I guarantee you that if Everton beat City on Saturday, City will still have played well. Their players will still have put it in. It'll just be we've put in an incredible effort and we've been really lucky and things have gone our way and the crowd have pulled them through. But City will still have turned up and had a go.
Course,
Do you know what I mean? Where I think too often with Everton, that isn't the case. Our team, just you look at it and go, you were an 8 last week. Why are you a 1 this week? Why? You trained all week, the same size pitch, same ball, same goals. Why can't you? Why do you need the crowd pushing you? Why can't you do it yourself? And that stops elite players from being good players.
It happened, didn't it? Beat Brentford and then we went to Newcastle with the same team, apart from Michalenko with the COVID. But Michalenko would have played, wouldn't he?
He'd have played, yeah.
The Townsend was left back. And it was literally, we got beat there too, didn't we? So
it can only be up here then, because we then come back to Leeds and bounce Leeds all over the gaff. And then we go here and we're terrible again. So it can only be a mental side, can't it?
Of course. Yeah, I totally agree with that as well. You just watch some of them sometimes and you think, they get a really good performance and they get the pat on the backs off the fans and pat off the back off Lampard, like Iwobi did last week and Gomes did after the Brentford game. But they consistently just let you down, unfortunately. And they've let some of them have let us down for the past 2 years. And that's why I think there's a lot of, for me personally anyway, like there's no trust towards them. There's trust towards some of them. There's some of them I'd want them to come in to fight for us. And like against City on Saturday, you know what, Everton, we've always said this, Everton fans aren't hard to please. If you can go in there, you show desire, you show heart, you run, you close everything down, you battle. You know what, sometimes desire can win you wins your football games. Man City are an unbelievable team, technically probably one of the best teams I've ever seen. But you know what, they could technically kill us off the pitch on Saturday. But if we show that bit of heart and desire and show that tiny bit of quality in the moments, you never know sometimes. But the reality is, we've said it many times, half the players got heart the size of a pea, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's why they're not good enough, a lot of them, to play week in, week out in the Premier League. It's why we're not getting offers for some of these players, because they're not good enough.
Of course.
And they're consistently not going to be a top team. There's a reason Alex Iwobi left Arsenal to come to Everton. People might...
Well, no, you're right.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say you're absolutely right. I mean, just one of the players you just mentioned there, Andre Gomes. I mean, let's have a look at his numbers. You know, this is a fella who come in from Barcelona. We were made up when we got him on loan. He was really good.
Okay, he wasn't.
You know, and then you have a look here at his numbers at the weekend. You know, 41 touches, 75% passing accuracy, lost possession of the ball 12 times, committed 3 fouls, won 2 out of 6 ground duels. There's a lot other, I mean, I could have got stats on up and gone through all of his other numbers, which were absolutely appalling. The amount of times dribble passed, the amount of times he didn't run back goal side. And it's things like that. Against Brentford the other week, who were a Premier League team, he looked superb. He was strong on the ball, he was receiving it in tight areas, he was knocking people off the ball, running with it. And you go, maybe he just needed a bit of confidence from Lampard. And then you see him at Newcastle 3 days later, he can't control the football. It's hitting and bouncing, people are running off him. He's dropped for Leeds, comes on at half-time the weekend, nowhere to be seen again. Jumps in the back of some lad off the butt, like, was it Armstrong? Just jumped and kneed him in the back. And it was like, what are you doing?
That summed up his day.
That summed up, and, you know, it's that kind of thing where it's like, those players, we know as fans because we've seen them, and we just need Frank Lampard to get up to speed, I think, with knowing who and what. Because, like you said, Kane, it's like, sometimes it is about balance, it is about going, nah, we're putting him in because Damari Gray, he's got to come into the team because he's better than what we've got, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the reasons why we were so good under Moyes too, because most of the time it'd be the same 11 and you knew what you were going to get from them. But for me, like, I do understand if like you play well, you should really be getting into the team the following week. But if you've got like the options on the bench there, say for example, for me personally, I'd have played 2 different fullbacks on Saturday. And that's an unpopular opinion, I know, like, but I really would. I think Coleman deserves time out the team now to freshen the legs up. I think Michalenko simply would have been on that pitch for me because he's left-footed. You should not be going into a Premier League team away from home with no left-footers on the pitch. I just think...
Yeah.
And when you look at the players on the pitch on Saturday too, and it's you got no chance really, have you? But it's all about balance for me, and I think what we have been missing a lot this season, and is why I would be getting Patterson in the side. And listen, I know it's going to be hard to on Saturday. Man City, a different kettle of fish, but with Patterson you get the overlap and gives Gordon maybe some more space.
More space, yeah.
I just think we've missed that so much this season, where like Luca Dean, I know like he fell out and who knows what happened on the training ground, but overlap him and it gives like your wingers more space to tuck in, and that's why we were so good with Baines and Pienaar, and that's how you get results at the end of the day. And I think balance is just the key to get results in this Premier League, and we need results more than ever. And when we've got an unbalanced side, we're not going to be getting points.
But I think that's a dead important point, that though, because I think, ironically, this was the difference in this game. I think they both matched up. I think they did win the midfield battle, but if you actually look at the game again, it was the full-backs causing the issues. They had Walker-Peters and Liv Morento flying forward, up and down. Our two never went forward. Coleman was forward in the opening 15.
I don't think they've got the legs to go forward. Have they?
And I think sometimes at Goodison, the crowd gives you that energy, like we saw with John Joe Kenny last week. Certainly in the first half. Second half, he didn't really go forward, if you think about it last week. But first half, he was, and Coleman was, they really pressed Leeds back. Saturday, we didn't. We had no way of matching them, because their fullbacks were high. So even though we might have matched them up numerically, once their fullbacks are pushing right on, they were causing us problems, and we never offered the same threat to them after the opening 15. And that is a problem. And
I do think Lampard, I feel sorry for Lampard, because he has got his hands tied really with the midfield situation. And I do look at it and I think, you know, with Gomes coming on, and I kind of do see his point of view, because appreciate that Dele Alli could have come on, but he's probably thinking in the back of his mind, going to be wide open, and then you don't want them to, well, they did score 2 goals, didn't they? So, but I can kind of see where he's struggling to get the 3 in the middle and find the right balance in that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, what I was thinking was maybe Alan Van der Beek Ali, and listen, people know Van der Beek better than me. I haven't seen him play as much as others would have, but I've heard that he can play the 6, he can play the 8 and so on. He can play all different positions in the middle for us. But would that have been an option for you if you'd have Alan in the 6, Van der Beek and Ali to start the game at Southampton?
Well, yeah, of course, and he put him on, but we were already chasing the game, and he tried to do that later on. Of course he would. That's what you could have, because you'd have those 2 operating as 8. So, but Alan would have to sit and be disciplined.
That's what I mean.
And then them 2 can get up and down and take it in turns. And we want Dele up to full fitness, won't we? This week, you know, Decore's back in training. So, you know, the manager said after the game, I hope he's 1 and 5 for City. So if he's 5 for Saturday, gives you that extra pair of legs in midfield, then it'll be interesting to see what he does. Because if Decore's fit, Van der Beek will play. Tell you that now.
Yeah.
And I think Alan will play.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the midfield three. And I think Damari Gray will come back in and it'll be Richie. It'll be Gray, Richie and Dom as a three. And it'll be the other three in midfield. And then because we can make it 4-5-1 then and make sure that City can't play through us. Having Abdoulaye Doucouré in the team makes Everton totally different because he's look at this, he's got 2 goals, 4 assists this season from midfield. But he breaks into the box a little bit more. He also puts fires out. What annoys me more than anything and burns my head out is how we haven't got 3 Abdoulaye Doucourés in the squad. That's what does my head in.
Yeah.
Big, mobile midfield player that can cover ground, can get all over the pitch and break things up. And that annoys me more than anything.
I do think he's waiting for Doucouré to play that free in the middle. I do think that's what the weight is in regards. I know we all want it now, but I don't think we maybe got the personnel to play the free at the moment.
Right, okay.
But just going back to what you're saying there about the full-back situation, with full-backs, what they do these days, they get you up the pitch. They get you, you look at all top teams, all their full-backs are wingers now.
Yeah, of course
Ours are more like sweepers. So it is doing it.
Yeah,
It's like we basically play a flat back 4.
Yeah.
We don't play.
You don't go up.
We don't have. It's kind of you flat 4 and that's it. And the problem is sometimes you look at some of the wingers. We have like Gray at times, or it's Richarlison or Townsend. They're isolated. There's 3 players around them, and they look round and like, "Where's my fullback?
Yeah.
Where's my full?" And there's none of them. Same the other side on Saturday. Gordon. He done a lot. He tried too much at times because he had no one there with him.
Yeah, no one going
That was
on
the problem.
outside of him. Yeah.
This is the problem, and you look, like you said, fullbacks aren't fullbacks anymore. The wingers, and you look at top 2. That's why personally, I get people saying, "Patterson, is he ready?" They played this 18-year-old right back on Saturday. Livramento. He's played all season.
Of energy,
Alexander-Arnold was in the Liverpool team at 19, 20. There's no, to me now, I would say, Patterson, go and grab your chance.
Yeah.
Go and get your chance.
100%.
It's your right back. This is your spot to keep.
So he'll start against Bournemouth.
See, I'd play him against City.
He'll play against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But maybe
I think we need to get out against City.
Maybe you need.
City are going to pen us in.
Yeah.
And we need to get out.
Maybe it is that way. You need someone, a young kid who's fearless, like he is with it, just as an outball every now and again to go on. Because you see Anthony Gordon on Saturday taking people on and taking too many touches. But if he had someone running on the outside, all you're trying to do with your fullback is to create a little laugh. So the man marking you thinks, hang on, what about him? And then in that split second, you're away, you can put a cross. Or if the fullback's good enough, you can do the reverse pass. And then he's in round the back. And we have none of that. Other teams do have it. City will have it in abundance.
Yeah. I did like your point about having another Abdoulaye Doucouré. 100% agree with that, because we've spoken about a few players, haven't we? Like the Sangaris and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think one position we definitely need is that a number 6, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody to sit in and just sweep it all up. What Gareth Barry used to do really well for us. Like I remember when
Gareth Barry.
I know when Martinez's first season, when you had the full backs going forward and then you just sit in and just literally mop it all up for you. I think we're crying for that big time too at the minute.
No, I agree. Well, one person who can come off the pitch and say he did have a decent game was Jordan Pickford. I think he's probably the only one, in my opinion, who could say he performed anywhere like he should. Here's his numbers: 9 saves, 7 in the box, 1 punch. He completed 19 out of 38, so 50% of his long balls, and made 2 high claims. And like I said, the first goal, you could say, could he have done better? But it did. It was kind of bent round.
Pace as well.
And it was pacey. It was. You just got to. Keepers aren't going to save everything, are they? But I thought he was good, and you know, he organised, and he is the only one really that is like screaming and shouting at them. Nobody else does it. When you have seen it, you were there, Kane. I bet you he was the only one.
No, he was. The others are too busy arguing with each other of whose fault it was. Like I said before, when the goals went in, Pickford's out screaming at the players, but the others are all more bothered about looking at the screen thinking, oh, it was actually your fault. It was yours. And then they're arguing with each other then. There's just like we go back to saying, there's no one who takes responsibility in this team at all. And I think Pickford, for me, and you know, I haven't really been as big as fan.
No.
To be fair to me, he's turned it around big time. Since that derby win last year, he has been fantastic for us, and fair play to him. And he's the only one who actually looks like the bothered at the minute.
Which was a year ago yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, grim. Sorry to bring that up, like.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the match stats from the game. Not Alex Iwobi. There you go. Southampton 2, Everton 0. 19 shots for Southampton, 9 for Everton. 11 on target for Southampton, none for Everton. 4 big chances for them, none for Everton. 56-44 in the possession. They completed 506 passes. Southampton 401. Oh, I mean, literally, that is really close to Everton Leeds last week. We had 21 attempts at goal, 10 on target. They had 7 and none on target. And that's it. They literally done to us what we did to Leeds last week. Southampton. Listen, I wouldn't sit here and try to go. No. You know what? If we'd have just that, we deserved it. We didn't. They were the much better side, and they deserved it.
We are just so easy to play against. That's our biggest problem.
Away from home in particular, really, really easy. We're just you rub your hands. If you haven't won a game, you rub your hands. Like we've got to go to Burnley. How huge a game's that going to be? And Watford. Those two will just be like, we've got wins in both of those games.
They'll just be thinking what Norwich were thinking. We can't get a win. Oh, Everton are coming to Carrow Road.
Yeah. Well, they'll roll the sleeves up and battle, won't they? Yeah. Burnley have got Weghorst up front, who's like 6'93".
And they love a ball in the box.
They love a long ball in.
We have no one. Be jumping the turf more, will he?
No, without meaning it, we have no one who wants to attack the ball in the box.
Goes back to what we've been saying, hasn't it, for a long time, but there's no leaders in the team at all. No leaders.
No.
Look at the back, would you? Again, nothing against them, but you wouldn't want some of these players going into a relegation battle for you.
And they are, though. That's the bad thing about it.
That's the problem. And like Kane was saying, you look around some of them, and when the goals go in, they're just like, they look lost. Look lost as a team. There's no accountability, no one taking responsibility apart from Jordan Pickford. And the reason Jordan Pickford's probably taking responsibility is because he's used to playing with top players when he's in England. He looks around probably at our back four and think, bloody hell, what am I dealing with here? Goes to England, he's dealing with, I know some of them are half, like your Tyrone Mings and that, but you've got like your Kyle Walkers who play at top teams, and he's like, there's responsibility. Comes to Everton and he looks around, and he's, no offence to the captain, but he's probably been one of our worst players this season, Seamus Coleman, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
He's hung out to dry, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. And a lot of it's not his fault, it's the club's fault for not acting a lot sooner. And
Seamus Coleman's attitude never lets him down. No. It's his body. Yeah. His body lets him down. The attitude.
You hit the nail on the head, Baz. I was watching you, I think it was last week, and everyone was talking about how, what if we go down, and I think you said, if we do go down, worst case scenario, us as fans, we're left to pick up the pieces. These players aren't bothered. They're just getting on there playing, and then they'll find their next move.
They get the club,
Exactly.
They're not bothered at all.
And that's why.
And we're worrying every night, thinking relegation battle, oh my God, imagine if we go down. I don't think the players are worried, I think they just go in a game at a time and think, oh yeah, whatever happens, happens. They've got their move in the summer. They'll get their big paycheck and a flight home on Saturday when fans are probably still stranded in Southampton now. They're not bothered.
And we need more characters, don't we? And that's why I was saying about last week before the Leeds game, saying we've got to do our bit, because these can't do it. And Saturday proved it. You were there with 3,000 Evertonians. We were like,
not bothered at all.
They just were unable to do it. And that's why when we play at Goodison, we do have to make that extra bit of noise, because we might, and I'll tell you this for a fact, right? We will be the difference. If Everton stay up, it will be because of the fans at Goodison Park that keep them up. The players won't, because they've proven they can't do it. They can't do it, and the manager has got to, we've just got to get behind the manager, and he's just got to be able to try and get us to the summer, keep us up, and then in the summer have some real conversations with, you're not good enough, sorry, you're going, and start looking at lads who are going to come in and who are going to fight and battle for the shirt.
More, you need more of the signs like your Damari Gray that we made in the summer. Players who want to prove themselves, who've been at clubs like Leicester who were fighting for European football, and he's come down. He went to obviously Germany, didn't work out for him. He done all right in Germany, but he comes back to England, he's got a point to prove. He wants to show people how good a player he is, and he has been good for Everton, but if we need more of those type of players. I said it yesterday.
Well, that Patterson be something like that. Wants to prove himself. He's young lad, loads of energy.
Played in Europe, played for Scotland. No reason why he can't come in and play in Premier League. And I just think, from my point of view now, it's like, touch wood, we stay up. But if we do stay up, there's going to be. I would love just a big slate clean with the whole squad, to be honest.
It's easy, obviously.
But it is easier said than
done.
Mate, we've been saying this for that long now, you know what I mean?
We do need to keep turning these players over and getting rid of them, getting new characters in, because the old ones aren't good enough now.
And if it can be done though, you look at...
No, it can be done.
You look at Leicester when they were on the verge of going down. The year after they won the Premier League. I know it was a fluke, a lot of it, but they still won it. The year after they slowed down, but then 2 years later they were in the Europa League, and it didn't take much.
No.
It didn't take much at all.
Oh, West Ham.
You look at West Ham.
West Ham
were in the relegation battle.
Boys kept them up, and the next year they're in Europe, and this year
their fans didn't
they're still in the Champions League race at the moment.
Wolves last season. Wolves had a dip last season. They picked it up again this season.
I actually tipped Wolves to go down.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did though.
Well, a lot did, because they were dreadful last
year.
But
what they do well, and what we were saying before, they do basics. They defend. They defend properly.
Don't take a chance.
But when they see an open, they've got lads on the break, like a bit of pace, and they've got Cody at the back who's a leader. That helps. We've got nobody at the back who's a leader. Even up the likes of your Burnleys and that. And don't be wrong, I know they've been crap this season, but I'd give me one of their centre halves over any of ours, because I just don't. Oh crap.
That's a good way to finish. Stay nice and positive.
It's hard, and it's just when you see the same.
Positive. Southampton, better team, no complaints, and we've got City at the weekend. Big thanks to Kane, big thanks to Steve. We're gonna carry on over on Patreon now. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. If you want to carry on watching live videos over on Patreon, make sure you click the link in the description below. See you later. Yes, we're back. So yes, Steve's just